So I implore you, I urge you, I hope to engage you in this process. I hope you realize that we have to dig deeper than the simple use of standardized or criterion reference tests or age equivalency scores to know whether a child has a true disability. And it matters. It matters to these kids. It's the dark ages out there. The clinical practice is in the dark ages. It is completely out of sync with the law, with the state regs, state and New York City policies and guidelines. Not 100%, but way too many. Now, if you look at the dark ages now, just think about these children. How many children have passed by you using a standardized test or age equivalency tests, have been misidentified? You have no idea whether they had a disability using what most people use to identify children. You can't walk away from this talk and do it. You've got to work on developing your clinical judgment. You've got to take some of the things that I've given to you and try to apply them to the children that you serve, to the communities and socioeconomic levels that you serve. And you've got to do that in a systematic way. The wizard, you got to walk away from the wizard. We all want to have a wizard in our life. The great and powerful Oz ain't going to do it here. This is where we are. What do we know? We do know how to identify a preschooler with a disability. The clinical practice isn't following that, but we know how to do it. We know a preschooler with a disability who's one who significantly differs from other children from the same experiences and background. What else do we know? Typically developing preschoolers acquire the languages and dialects of their homes and communities. What else do we know? IDEA, New York State, and New York City policies require that assessment materials be valid, reliable, and without significant cultural or racial biases. We know that standardized test scores cannot be used to identify disability in any child if significant cultural or racial biases exist, including if the child speaks a dialect other than the one used in the test. Vocabulary tests primarily identify socioeconomic status. Age equivalency scores cannot be used to calculate percentage of delay. So what to do Monday morning? Begin interpreting percentage of delay as 25% delay as mild to moderate and 33% as moderately severe to severe. Require evaluators to provide enough data on each child so CPSE administrators can see the child. I'm encouraging DOE, CSE, CPSE to identify quality evaluators and evaluation sites. As of today, there's no evaluation site has been denied access to evaluations because of the current quality, the current practice. I am sure that will be happening. So you need to get on board on this. You need to get on board, whether you're an evaluation site, whether you're an evaluator, whether you're a preschool who does a preschool, you've got to get on board on this. Don't report standardized scores for children where the tests are racial or culturally biased, who need bilingual evaluations, who are English dominant bilinguals, who have significant exposure to a dialect other than standard American English, from families from lower socioeconomic background, where the tests lack validity or reliability. For all other children, if they are not part of that group that you can't provide test scores for from standardized tests, you've got to give the scores within at least a 90% confidence interval. So that means you get a standard score of 72. Your confidence interval is likely to be plus or minus 8. That means the child's true score will fall somewhere from 64 to 80, meaning you know from giving that standardized, you're 90% sure from giving that standardized test, that child's true scores fall somewhere between more than 2 standard deviations below the mean to low average. Now, so even with all these standardized tests, if everything I said was inaccurate, you still don't know much from those standardized tests, and that's your standard error of measurement, but you got to use it. So stop asking before almost there were nomads, for crying out loud. It's always a process of working. Thank you for your attention. For further information, I do keep a Bilingual Extension Institute Facebook page where I put information on new research that's out there, new resources and opportunities for learning I do have a bilingual extension institute here at TC, but it's only for bilingual SLPs. The book that I would recommend to start with is the Paradis, Genesee, and Crago book. It's 2010, not 2011. Everybody I know across the country who's teaching this kind of stuff uses that book. It's very simply written, but retains the complexity. And the REL-NEI Northeastern, this is funded by the federal government, U.S. Department of Education, and they provide webinars and things like that on how to do appropriate assessment, how to provide great services. I am often on their webinars, as are many people who I have a lot of respect for. Again, my email is Crowley, CROWLEY, @tc.columbia.edu. Thank you very much for your time.